What does it take to become one of Africa's wealthiest and most influential figures? Is it sheer hard work, strategic brilliance, or a bit of calculated audacity? Today we're diving deep into the rise of Tony Elumelu, a man whose business acumen has reshaped Africa's financial landscape. But this journey wasn't without its battles. Picture this: a power struggle with Femi Otedola, the controversial takeover of a major hotel, and a rivalry that would shock the business world. From starting with nothing to becoming the billionaire founder of UBA and Heirs Holdings, Tony's path to success wasn't just paved with opportunity. It was fraught with tension, risk, and some very bold moves. But was it all fair play, or did Tony's determination push him into the murky waters of corporate drama? Buckle up, this isn't your average success story. Get ready for the untold truths behind Tony Elumelu's rise to the top, and how he crossed paths with one of the country's other business giants, Femi Otedola, in a high-stakes game of ambition, rivalry, and power. Tony Elumelu's story begins in the heart of Nigeria's northern region, where he was born on March 22, 1963, in Jos. Growing up in a family of 5, his parents, though not wealthy, made sure Tony had access to education, a gift that would set him on a path to greatness. Just like other Nigerian business giants such as Aliko Dangote and Rabiu Abdul Samad, Tony's journey started with a solid educational foundation, first at St. Patrick's Primary School in Jos. But it wasn't all local. Tony's curiosity and ambition took him south to the Federal Government College in Warri, Delta State, offering him a taste of southern Nigeria's unique culture and perspectives. After high school, he ventured back to the Middle Belt, enrolling in Ambrose Ali University in Edo State to study economics. Despite graduating with a lower second class, he didn't let that stop him, choosing instead to further his education with a master's degree in economics from the University of Lagos, setting the stage for his future success. Like many young Nigerian graduates, Tony Elumelu jumped into the National Youth Service (NYSC) program, landing a placement at Union Bank, one of the country's top commercial banks. It was there he first dipped his toes into the world of finance, sparking a passion for banking and accounting. But after completing his one-year service, Tony's dream of a permanent banking career was crushed. Union Bank didn't offer him a full-time position. That setback could have easily derailed his ambitions, but Tony wasn't one to give up so easily. With no luck finding a role in the big banks, he switched gears and entered the marketing world as a copier salesman. He spent his days hustling to sell office equipment, from printers to photocopiers, just like countless other Nigerian graduates driven by hunger and a fierce desire to succeed. Tony's journey took a big turn when All States Trust Bank opened up a hiring portal aimed at young university graduates. By this point, Tony had already completed his master's degree and felt ready to take on the challenge. There was just one problem: he didn't meet the exact academic criteria. The bank's listing required applicants to have a minimum of an upper second-class degree in their bachelor's, a benchmark that Tony hadn't reached. Although he qualified for the role in many other ways, this particular stipulation made him ineligible on paper. But Tony wasn't one to back down easily. To him, this felt like the golden opportunity he'd been waiting for, the chance to break into a field he had always been passionate about. He wasn't about to let one technicality stop him. Instead of giving up, Tony sat down and filled out the application. When it came time to write his cover letter, he took a bold step. Aware that he didn't meet every single requirement, he wrote, "I know I don't meet all the criteria, but if you give me the chance, I will prove myself." It was a gamble, but Tony believed in his ability to show what he could do if given the opportunity. He sent off the application, hoping for the best, but fully prepared for anything. Much to his surprise, the bank responded, inviting him to move forward in their selection process, along with hundreds of other hopeful graduates. In the end, Tony's persistence paid off. He secured his first real role in banking at All States Trust Bank, marking the start of a new chapter in his career. What began as a long shot turned into the breakthrough he had been dreaming of. Tony knew the moment he landed his position at All States Trust Bank that he had been handed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He wasn't about to let it slip through his fingers, especially since the chairman and CEO had personally reviewed his cover letter and decided to take a chance on him. That kind of faith from top leadership It didn't go unnoticed. Every day, Tony showed up with a fire in his belly, determined to prove that the bank had made the right decision in choosing him. And prove it he did. Within just a year of joining the bank, Tony's reputation grew rapidly. He was no longer just another data analyst. He was the new branch manager, a feat that, quite frankly, shocked the Nigerian banking scene. No one had ever seen a rise like that before. At just 27 years old, Tony Elumelu was leading an entire branch of the bank, something that had never been done by someone so young. People couldn't stop talking about it. But Tony never took this success for granted. He made sure to express his gratitude to his mentors, the leaders who had not only noticed his potential, but trusted him with such a huge responsibility. However, this was just the beginning of Tony's rise in the banking world. In 1997, at the age of 34, Tony decided to take on a new challenge that would change the course of his career and the Nigerian banking industry. He left Allstate's Trust Bank and took a bold leap, assembling a team of young, driven visionaries to take over Crystal Bank, a financial institution that was on the verge of collapse. The bank was essentially being given away in a distress sale. And Tony, armed with his relentless ambition and sharp instincts, saw potential where others only saw a sinking ship. Against all odds, Tony became CEO of what would soon be known as Standard Trust Bank, STB. The idea of turning around such a troubled bank might have seemed unrealistic. But Tony wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He had a vision, and his plan was simple yet ambitious. First, he aimed to revitalize the bank and get it profitable again. Then, he set his sights on positioning STB among Nigeria's top 10 financial institutions within 7 years, and ultimately to make it one of the country's top 3 banks by the end of the decade. Was this an audacious plan? Absolutely. But Tony and his team weren't just dreamers, they were doers. They rolled up their sleeves and went to work, bringing together their expertise and passion to breathe life back into STB. And, as we now know, the rest is history. Tony's boldness and vision transformed the banking industry and set a new standard for what young, determined leaders could achieve in Nigeria. Tony's story doesn't just inspire, it challenges us to rethink what's possible when you dare to take risks, when you see potential where others see failure, and when you keep pushing forward, no matter the odds. What do you think? Could you take that kind of risk, knowing the stakes? Tony Elumelu and his team didn't just talk a big game, they delivered. In just 7 months, they transformed Standard Trust Bank, STB, from a struggling institution with a meager 6.49 million naira in revenue to a powerhouse that raked in over 473 million naira. That's a jaw-dropping leap that turned heads in the banking world, especially at a time when Nigeria's financial sector was overcrowded with more than 120 commercial banks, all vying for dominance. It wasn't just about luck, though. Tony's leadership became the stuff of legends. His ability to rally his team and get results didn't just make waves, it shifted the entire narrative around Nigerian banking. And mind you, this was happening during a period when the industry was booming, fueled by deregulation trends that were shaking things up. But what happened to STB? You might be wondering. After Tony's acquisition in 1997, STB didn't just survive, it thrived. By 2000, the bank was already standing on solid ground, and by 2004, it had become one of Nigeria's top 10 banks, hitting its second strategic goal ahead of schedule. But Tony didn't stop there. In 2005, he pulled off a move that rocked the industry. A merger with United Bank for Africa, UBA, creating what was, at the time, the largest merger in sub-Saharan Africa. This wasn't just a business transaction, it was a game-changer. Under Tony's leadership, UBA was now firmly positioned as one of Nigeria's top 3 financial institutions. But for Tony, this was just the beginning. Before the merger, Tony had already set his sights on something bigger. He enrolled in Harvard Business School's advanced management program, sharpening his skills and preparing for the next phase of his career. And just like before, once he conquered one goal, he was hungry for the next. He didn't rest on his laurels. Tony set another bold 3-tier strategy for UBA, aiming to expand the bank beyond Nigeria and make a serious mark on the global stage. The key to UBA's success, Tony says, was their relentless pursuit of audacity. His team was always pushing boundaries, taking risks, and making moves that left competitors scrambling to catch up. Tony's approach wasn't just about achieving one goal, it was about creating momentum. Each milestone gave them the fuel to go for the next, and that's how UBA not only conquered the Nigerian market, but also expanded its footprint across 20 African countries. They didn't stop there. UBA became the first African bank to operate in the United States, with branches in New York, London, and Paris. In 2010, a major shift happened in Tony Elumelu's career when a new policy from the Central Bank of Nigeria imposed a 10-year cap on the term limits for CEOs of publicly traded banks. As a result, Tony stepped down from his position as CEO of United Bank for Africa, UBA. But rather than see this as a setback, Tony turned it into an opportunity. He saw the change as a chance to broaden his horizons and explore new ventures, instead of letting it hinder him. Even though he retired from the executive role, Tony didn't step away completely. He remained actively involved with the bank, continuing to lead its board of directors as the largest shareholder, holding a solid 7% stake in the institution. But Tony wasn't one to sit idle for long. Shortly after his departure from UBA, he founded Heirs Holdings, a family-owned investment firm, and began diversifying into multiple sectors, growing his influence even further. One of his boldest moves came in the hospitality sector, an area he had been quietly investing in for years. The big splash came when Tony took over Transcorp Hilton Hotel in a way that stirred up quite a bit of drama. The story began years earlier, when Tony had approached Femi Otedola, then chairman of Transcorp, for financial support during the UBA acquisitions. Otedola, backing Tony's vision, invested around $20 million by purchasing shares in UBA, and Tony persuaded him to keep holding on to those shares, promising great returns. By 2007, Otedola had become the chairman of Transcorp, with a 5% stake in the company. What he didn't realize was that Tony had been quietly amassing shares in the same company behind the scenes. When financial trouble hit Otedola in 2008, Tony saw an opportunity and swooped in to acquire not just Otedola's shares in UBA, but also his stake in the African Finance Corporation, further cementing his control. Around the same time, Otedola was approached by an individual claiming that an American firm was interested in buying his shares in Transcorp. Otedola agreed to the deal, only to discover the American firm was actually Tony Elumelu, who had outmaneuvered him in a strategic power play. This led to a shocking resignation from Otedola as chairman of Transcorp and a full takeover by Tony, who now chairs the entire Transcorp group. Tony's ability to make bold moves, coupled with his strategic foresight, left the business world buzzing. His controversial rise in the hospitality industry showed just how far he was willing to go to build his empire. From quietly buying up shares to orchestrating one of the most talked-about corporate power shifts, Tony Elumelu's influence continues to grow. What do you think of this kind of corporate maneuvering? Was it just business, or was it backstabbing? In 2010, Tony made a major leap from the world of business into philanthropy by founding the Tony Elumelu Foundation. His goal? To empower young African entrepreneurs by providing them with not just financial support, but also the opportunities they need to build successful businesses. The foundation's mission is deeply tied to Tony's Afri-capitalism philosophy, which emphasizes that Africa's long-term prosperity will be driven by a strong and thriving private sector. Thanks to his vision, the foundation has already had a massive impact. Over 20,000 young entrepreneurs across Africa have received funding totaling more than $100 million. Plus, the foundation's digital platforms have reached over 1.5 million young people, providing them with the tools and knowledge to succeed. Despite his deep commitment to giving back, Tony hasn't slowed down in the business world. At 61, he continues to manage and grow various enterprises with an impressive net worth of over $700 million. He's no stranger to the high life. Tony owns a collection of luxury cars, an exotic mansion in Ikoyi, Lagos, and a renowned art collection worth millions. But perhaps one of his most eye-catching purchases is his private jet, a Dassault Falcon 7X, which set him back a cool $60 million. Tony's love for music and parties is equally legendary. While most of us might spend big to catch a show, Tony flips the script by paying top artists to perform at his personal events. His passion for music is so well known that Spotify even created a playlist for him. But above all his material success and lifestyle, Tony's heart belongs to his family. Married to his wife, Vivian Owell, since 1993, they have 5 children together, including triplet girls. Tony's life is a striking balance of business acumen, philanthropic drive, and a genuine love for his family and culture. These days, Tony Elumelu is focused on bringing much of his vast portfolio of investments back to Africa through Heirs Holdings, aiming to create a lasting family legacy that will endure for generations. Reflecting on his journey and how he achieved so much at such a young age, starting with nothing, Tony attributes his success to 2 key factors: hard work and luck. He's been open about how these 2 forces have shaped his life and career. When he looks back, he often asks himself, what if the chairman of Crystal Bank hadn't given me a chance? That single moment of opportunity could have easily slipped away, and Tony acknowledges that sometimes all it takes is that bit of luck to turn things around for a person. His story is a powerful reminder that while hard work is essential, it's often a stroke of luck that can truly elevate someone's efforts. Tony is living proof that when you put in the work and the right opportunities come your way, you can turn your dreams into reality. His success isn't just about having the right skills, it's about being in the right place at the right time and making the most of it. It's a balance of perseverance and timing that's worked wonders for him. If you enjoyed this video, show some love by hitting the like button. Also let us know what other video topics you'd like to see and we might just make it happen. Thanks for watching.